Hey guys, how are you?
Good.
Congratulations on the movie. The question I've got to ask is this an instance where the producers come to you and say, all right, we're doing a movie, and is everyone like, yes, finally? Or it's like, oh, are we really? Like, what's the initial reaction to the news?
The latter, Ken.
Scared, afraid,
Not
excited,
not expecting it.
Yeah,
not expecting.
yeah, we didn't. We're thrilled it happened, but we didn't expect it. We're just excited.
Every day's a gift.
Yeah,
Right. So now that you've got it, though, now that you've got it, though, are you expecting for this to become a regular thing for you guys now, or
are we expecting what?
Are you expecting this to now be a regular thing for you guys?
Movies?
More movies.
No, you
Yeah,
never
they're more-
expect
just
the
more-
things to
more
last
movies.
forever. You
Have
expect
you?
only trauma.
Do you know showbiz? She's a bitch. Lady showbiz, she'll hang you out to dry.
Yeah.
Maybe even for this interview.
What got into you?
There
I
you
don't
go.
know.
Perfect.
It went really high and really
We
low.
are
Hard
hopeful.
scramble.
but cautious. We're all
Hard scramble.
cautious.
But I'm right,
hopeful.
though.
Give us another
right?
nugget. Give us
I'm not
another
wrong.
nugget.
Yeah,
Some days are diamonds, some days are stones.
that's right.
This
Yeah.
is perfect. Now, look, you guys had to record this at home, and so is this when you're doing it for a movie? Is there like extra stuff that you have to do to make sure that it all sounds great, or is it just what
When
you
you're
guys
doing it
were
from home? That's
used to?
usually bong hits.
At home, I mean, I would wrap myself in saran wrap just to get into the right headspace,
Yeah.
and then sing, and then I would do my songs and my talkings.
My talk.
Yes.
It was hard for me because wherever I was living, there would either be a house being demolished next door, or my kid dropped her nap, so then that window is gone, and so it was really tough. I say making content during the pandemic was such a challenge that I hope, and I don't mean this as like a disclaimer or to like. But when people complain about, oh, the TV shows or movies that are coming out now aren't as good, I'm like, do you understand that these were being made next to small children or children trying to do Zoom and with like the stress of like death on top of people from their basements? Like, I think we did pretty good. Anyways, well, so
We tried our best, and our hearts were in it, but our children wept.
they were next to us while we made the thing.
This movie does such a fantastic job of for new audiences showing them who all your characters are, right? And like this has always been a show that's been driven by its characters, but knowing that there's the potential, right, for a much larger audience to come see the movie. Is there something that you hoped, just even in your performance in this, that like new fans kind of took away from your characters?
I hope that the people who haven't seen the show and they see this movie kind of fall in love with the characters and then know that there's many seasons of these characters that they could then watch. I think that you don't need to have ever seen the show to enjoy the movie, but once you do, you'll then have access to a whole world of it.
Love it. I have a question for the Johns. Online, you guys are fairly terrible to each other.
That's what I was talking about at lunch.
So is that just what makes Bob and Linda work? Is just that you guys are so terrible to him?
No, we have a great time together. We're very close friends. John makes me laugh like nobody in this world. So I especially when he's making fun of me, which I'm usually game for, and and I think he is too. Obviously, he's a good sport, and we laugh a ton. So yeah,
I think the problem is that I think John thinks that everyone will be in on the inside joke, and that's just not the case.
Well, no. People usually are.
We have reams and reams of private text exchanges that are far worse than what you've seen.
Perfect. Chris,
we'll release them eventually.
That'll be a book.
John, you had mentioned in interviews before that your mom was kind of an inspiration for you for Linda, and I was talking to Loren just before on the possibility of getting your mom a spot as a guest star on the show. Is that is that something that?
Head. No, she would love that. What are you kidding me? My mom is, very similar to Linda. If Loren was game, yeah, she would
perfect
happily do that, of course.
Great. So now
I want to get my dad on.
She's such a big fan,
Is your dad still alive?
No, but your dad's not like my mom. That's part of it. Nobody wants to talk about that.
But it's fine.
No, but nobody wants to meet your dad. Nobody wants to meet
guys.
I
Take it to the
dad. I
text.
really liked him, and I would love for him to be on the show.
I can't wait to text Sean after this.
Get a Russian mom on the show.
Yeah, we'll look into it.
And then
More families.
John, as a Long Island native, what would it take to get Christmas trees too?
Oh, you from Long Island?
Yeah, of course.
Well, I don't know about the Christmas tree too, because there's only one Christmas tree, but
Sure.
There could be some mom videos coming up in the future. She could be coming back.
Love it. Guys, thank you so much for this. The movie was fantastic. I've been a huge fan for such a long time. This is bucket list for me. Thank you, guys.
Thank
you so much.
Hi, Jim.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I gotta admit, this has been a bucket list interview for me, so I'm very excited for it. So,
Nice.
so all right. So here we go. So what comes first? You guys saying, "Hey, we have an idea for a movie," or a studio saying, "Hey, let's do a movie"?
Good question. And I don't know. This is going to sound cute, but it was kind of both.
Okay.
Here's the way I think of it is a little bit, it's not so much that we had the idea for the movie, but we had the confidence to make the movie, and then they called. It was,
all right.
And that really had to happen in that order, because I think if they'd called us even a year, let's say 2 years earlier, we might have said yes, but it would have been a mistake. We would have driven the whole thing into the ground. We would have, I think, done our best, tried to make a movie, probably lose track of the TV show too, and we wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. It would all just end in disaster. But what happened was we were making the show, doing our best to figure out how to do that, and we had just started doing our kind of our passion projects on the side, let's say, call it that, the cookbook, the comic book, and then the live shows. And it was especially that last piece. Yeah. And the albums. Thank you for saying that. The live shows ended for us. I mean, we'll do more, but this particular iteration of the live show, the last one we did was 2 nights of music and comedy in LA. And we really pulled out all the stops on the music side. We brought all our musicians that we've ever worked with together, and plus a few new ones. We had a horn section, we had backup singers, we built puppets, we had confetti cannons, and we were really thinking about how to make this thing feel big, how to fill the stage, all from the stage to the rafters, from the sides of the stage to the other side, how to hit the back rows, and how to make each of those folks feel pinned back in their seats at some point or another during that show. And it was while we were rehearsing that they called to ask us if we wanted to do a movie.
So was the idea for the movie, or like at least the central plot, right? Like, is that something that you would have maybe used in the show down the line, or is this, because of, I guess, kind of the scale of it, like is something that probably only you can get with the movie experience?
I'll take that one.
Yeah, I don't think we could have done it justice in the show. I think it's like a different sort of, it wouldn't quite have fit. I think it might be too big for the show, basically, especially for like even a 2-parter. I feel like it would have felt like, wow, that's all they're doing on such a big thing happening. So it felt like it could only, which was exciting. Like, oh, we get to do this because we're doing a movie. We get to do something bigger than we could ever do in the show. So it's exciting.
The movie obviously gives you an opportunity to hit some new audiences, right? And so are there things as you're putting the movie together that you guys need to make sure of to just kind of make this accessible to them? Because like longtime fans who have been watching it for 12 seasons now, right, are in. But for someone who may be bringing someone new to that, what were some of the things that you guys had to do to try and make it as accessible for them as possible, if you felt that was a thing?
Well, we were talking about this a little bit before. There's, the good news is for us, it's a family and everyone understands families, and it's a restaurant and almost everyone understands restaurants. And, even if you've never run one, you've certainly eaten in one and passed by them, and you've seen them open and close with an emphasis on the close part. So we don't have to do too much. It's not a particularly complicated world. You don't have to explain too much and to drop into not just our movie, but really any episode of the show. You kind of get it right from the opening. And I think that, working on the movie is, partly an exercise in making a movie that can stand on its own. You have to approach it that way, or else you're not making a real movie.
I feel like the cast, I know I'm biased, but the cast is so lovable that they're kind of a great entrance, even if you have never seen any of the show. Like, you're gonna love listening to Kristen Schaal and John Benjamin, John Roberts, and Larry Murphy, and Dan Mintz, and Eugene Mirman. Like, you're gonna love listening to them talk for 90 minutes, or at least I hope.
The movies had a bit of a journey, right? Like, you guys wrote this in 2018 now, and the show has a loose sense of continuity, but is there, will the events now of this movie affect, or pop up somewhere down the line? And then, like, did you have to change stuff, like, even for the show, because of the kind of shifting schedule that the movie had?
I think we'll have to, there's some big stuff that, thematic stuff for the characters' journeys that we cover in the movie that is covered. We can't go back to that, which is kind of, it's good. Like, we don't want to rehash those stories. So there's some stuff that's okay, we discussed that, we've gone really deep on that, that's done. But yeah, as far as I
think we wanted to have this really big story, but we didn't want to break the show. So we didn't want it to feel like we have this thing, they had some experience that's going to change them irreversibly going forward. It sort of had to come back to the show. So if you're someone who hasn't seen the show and you pick up an episode in season 5 or pick up an episode in season 13, it'll all still, and then watch the movie, it'll all still sort of play together. So, but like you said, we do have that, we always have that attention to continuity, whether it's the shark teeth on the ice cream machine from season 2 that's still there now. So there are things that happen in the movie that will be in the show going forward, and there were things that were leading up to the movie in the show that will be in the film too.
The opening credits gag is been an important one for fans, and so now being able to do this one, what I imagine there's a bit of excitement on trying to come up with this one, but can you kind of walk me through kind of just your thoughts in putting it together, and then being able to obviously to execute it in a way that feels fun and fresh for fans like us who love the show for so long?
I mean, the first thing we said was, well, let's not just do the show open. Let's not accidentally think that what fans want to see is this little ukulele strum and the same image. We knew that would be sort of comforting and then simultaneously disappointing. Even if you weren't ready to admit that to yourself, your blood pressure would drop. And that was not our goal for the beginning of this movie. So one of the first things we had to do was basically push that off. And anyone who said, "Oh, you're not going to, play the ukulele right at the beginning," it's like, well, we might, but we're going to have to do it in a new way. And so then we started thinking about a lot of the visuals and what we were going to see, and we had a few little shots at that.
Yeah, we had that. I mean, the opening changed a lot all going through, and then we had to somehow resolve. We really wanted the shop front, but of course, in the opening credits, you see that, and then the show starts and it's gone. But because the movie opens and the shop front's still there, we had to come up with a way of. So there was a lot of thought that went into the opening of the film.
You guys have, over the years have had a number of guests, come in and lend their voices to characters and things like that. Is there ever kind of an inclination when you're doing this to try and want to pack, a movie with a bunch of guest stars? And how do you kind of manage that balance? Because I know you said, you guys have mentioned that obviously the film focuses on the family so much. Does it give you that wiggle room to do something like that?
We wrote a version with so many of the background, the other characters in it was very, very long. And you kind of lost the sense of what the plot of the movie was about. So it was like, we love them so much, and it's fun to write for them. That's why they're on the show. So it was painful cutting them out, but as we like kept rewatching the movie and seeing how we could like get it clipping along and how they weren't essential, then we were just like, I would always be like, hopefully we'll get a sequel and we'll put them in the sequel. There
we go. On that note, obviously I'm a huge fan of John Roberts's Linda, and I know John has mentioned in interviews that his mom was an inspiration kind of for his character. Is there ever an opportunity to get John's mom in as a character, since she was such an inspiration?
Yeah, we should do that. The irony is she doesn't sound that much like Linda. He's been so clear. He's said to anyone who will listen, this is just me doing my mother. And if you look at his YouTube thing, he's literally wearing her sweaters. And then you meet her and you're like, oh, you're not what I expected at all. But he said she used to sound more like that. That's his cover story, and he's sticking with it.
Fair. Obviously, you mentioned, if you get the opportunity for a sequel, you'll have the opportunity to do more. Most movies, like this, usually only dip their toe in once and then maybe get out. Now that you have kind of gone through this process, is this a thing that hopefully everything all goes well, that you guys do on a fairly regular basis, or is this like as the opportunity arises, and if you've got the right story, you'll come in and do it?
A day didn't go by on the production of the movie when we didn't look at each other and say, this is the most fun that you can have at work, and we would love to do this again and maybe even forever. It was a everyday kind of thing. It was a mantra because it was so much fun. And of course, at the same time, if we don't have the right story, then we should not do it. You have to kind of resist, even if they tell us we can. It's our job, I guess, to hold off until we know we have a story that's worthy. And that was really a great pleasure on this one. We felt like we had a story to tell, and we just went at it.
Right.
And I suppose, the short answer is, please let us do it.
Right.
I'll ask one more question before I got to let you guys go. The movie has a post-credit scene. How many others are on the cutting room floor?
We kicked around a few ideas, and it was something we knew we wanted to do, and we ended up leaving it very late in the piece, and then it was, and I had that little worry that at some point we weren't going to have time for it, and I remember I can't remember if it was a call or text messages, but the three of us were on with the producer Janelle. And these guys came up with this idea of the post credit, and we just whipped it through. It was like one of the last things we did.
Really?
And I was so pleased we got to put it in.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's incredible, guys! Thank you so much for this. The movie's fantastic. So thank you.